Welcome to Don't Fear the Wait podcast with your host Vicky Masita, bringing together science and personal experience.
Good morning, guys, and welcome back to the next episode of the Titan Tit-bits, or the Exclusive Titan Tit-bits. As you can see, we have a Reiki master in the hot seat today, where exclusive PT Luke Andrews used to be, and now he's not. He's now meditating off his recovery that we are doing. So, Luke, my man, how are you this morning? What's things going on? What are you being up to? Let's have a rundown.
I am being obviously coached by your good self nutritionally, and what's going on is I am starting to actually look quite jacked. And yes, this podcast is all about me today. Everyone listening was going to find out just how great I am.
Absolutely, with abs now. Lesser love and more abs.
More fabs than abs, but they're getting there. They're getting there. No, so yeah, obviously did my check-in this morning, so very happy with progress so far.
Indeed.
I know you wanted to do some before and after pics, but I banned you because it's not quite there yet, in my opinion. But
I just shouldn't have asked permission. That's what it is.
No, you should have done, because that's professional of you, Vicky.
Exactly. It's professionalism, and that is exactly what we're going to talk about as well today, isn't it?
That's ironically quite a good lead-in, wasn't it?
It was a good lead-in. Okay. And it is all about, today we're going to discuss the client-coach relationship. Now, apart from the fact that me and Luke are besties, and will be besties for life, as you can imagine, maybe I might have been presumptuous there, apparently. But even though we are friends, we are business partners, and we are combined coaches in the Exclusive Titan team, we are also coach and athlete. So I coach Luke nutritionally. I design all of his nutritional programming for him and make manipulations just as I would do every other client that I have on board. And Luke does the same for my powerlifting training. So when it comes to actually feeding back and having that coach-client relationship, myself and Luke actually talk in a completely different manner. And even though I call him an arse or a dude or whatever, he does the same thing with me. And he coaches.
I'm constant professional. Constant professional.
But what we really wanted to kind of highlight in this coach-client relationship is that not all coach-client relationships can be the same. So myself and Luke have got a very different way of handling our coaching relationship, because I like being coached in a matter-of-fact fashion. And Luke likes being coached in a structured and rigid fashion in terms of his nutrition. So if it fits your macros or flexible dieting for Luke just does not work. And this namby-pamby, oh, you're a delicate little snowflake flower, don't worry about doing that on your deadlifts and that kind of shit, that don't work for me. So, Luke, give us a little bit of a rundown of how you approach your clients and how you value the coach-client relationship.
Well, to answer your second question, I think that's number one priority with the relationship between coach and client, because if you don't prioritize how they're going to respond to you, and I'm going to be talking as a coach at this point in time, then whatever you're trying to say just probably won't resonate as well as it should do with regard to how they're progressing, what they need to do to get their goals, etc. So so you really need to respect the fact that you're all there to help them, and they need to understand as well that you're there to help them. And I think this gets lost sometimes in that relationship, that people, when it starts getting difficult, they start not necessarily blaming, but they start looking for reasons why they shouldn't, or why they should be doing things differently. And this is part and part of the coach-athlete relationship, because training and diet, nutrition, etc., isn't always easy. And if you haven't built up that trust and rapport between, let's say, you and I, or you and someone else, or me and someone else, then when the going does get tough, and there always will be times where you have to say to someone, look, at the end of the day, I'm not telling you what to do in regard to your goals. You've come to me to help facilitate that. And to facilitate that, you need to do this, in my professional opinion. And if that relationship isn't strong, then they're not going to like what they hear, and they're probably going to be adversely affected by it mentally. So they will obviously either go off the rails or cancel the relationship or this, that, and the other. But if you've got that sort of trust, that respect, that rapport, where they know what you're saying is pertinent to their goals and they know that you have their best interests at heart, which again is another big deal, then they're going to take it on board and go, okay, I hear what you're saying. I've seen the results that you've helped me gain. If you think I need to do this, then I'm in it all the way. I'm gonna do it as well. They might not like it because, like I said, it's hard work when you start really getting lean, or when you really start trying to add that extra kilo on. But yeah, so it's then finding out how best to do that in the long term, because everyone's different, like you said.
Yeah, that's it. Now, one of the things that I wanted to bring up on working with in a different manner with we recently went to the European Powerlifting Conference in Ireland. And one of the things that were brought up was how you can coach female athletes.
Okay.
And some of which we had a big disagreement on. Not myself and you.
No, not us two. No, we were disagreeing with the speaker, weren't we?
Yeah. And the reason for that was because this speaker actually stated that all women, all female clients, should be treated the same way, and that you can't be aggressive with a female client, and it was absolutely hilarious because the day that myself and Luke traveled to Dublin, we had a session together, and it was squats, wasn't it? Okay,
please edit this. All right.
No, I'm not going to edit it. Yeah, everybody knows that I swear on these things, and it's fine because it's our personality, and this is literally to showcase the kind of relationship that you can have. Okay.
Right.
Now I was squatting 5 sets of 7 because Luke felt nasty that week, and he programmed me really high volume squats, and they were heavy, but it improves it. Now he was spotting me on these squats, and I got down to do my 6th rep, and it was shit, wasn't it?
Well, my following comment will probably relay that quite well.
Now, what did you say to me, Luke, after I did that awful squat?
Do I have to repeat this? Can I just prefix this? I know you, even though I don't know you that long. I think we've built up a really. I'm going to get this disclaimer in quite long.
I know, yeah. You don't have to just say it.
Yeah, okay, basically, it wasn't very good. I went, come on, Vicky, that was...
Yeah.
Get on, sort your shit out.
Yeah. And I nodded, and I went down, and I executed a perfect rep, which was... the best of my life. But the fact is, the reason why we're saying this, and the reason why we're even having a bit of a giggle about it, is because if I had done that rep, and Luke had not said what he said, because he knows how I react. Yeah. If he had just kind of gone, oh, Vic, that wasn't very good, maybe try a bit harder, I would have, one, racked the bar, because that ain't going to motivate the shit out of me. But I, too, would have looked at him and said, what the hell has crawled up your ass and said that? It just happens. And the fact is that my personality, especially my personality in the gym, is fueled by that. You are not doing good enough. You are going to be a little bit more aggressive. And the fact is that Luke did say, come on, Vic, that was and he said it in an aggressive manner, but that made me execute a perfect rep. Now, compare me. Yeah, well, Marvin. Not like he smacked me upside the head or anything like that. He did it in an aggressive manner. But compare that to, say, somebody else who you coach. If you would say that to somebody else that you coach who has a different personality than me, what would have happened?
Well, they'd probably be in shock, to be honest. I mean, this is where you need to have that rapport and be a really good understanding of people, have a really good understanding of people, because at the end of the day, you are coaching people. And if you don't get on and don't actually figure out what that person's personality is like, whether it's just from experience or just intuition or whatever, then you can really just lose a lot of clients. I won't mention the names, but I mean, when people have squatted badly, and again, it really depends on what their time under the bar is, etc., as well, and their history too. Because I mean, if you hadn't done any weights in the past, Vicky, and that 6th rep wasn't very good, I'd be like, okay, just tighten up, just focus on this. I'll be giving you a lot more technical cues. But as we discussed before the podcast, your squat technique is actually coming on very well. So technique-wise, unless it's something glaring that's obvious, I just need to make you aware of, you're pretty sound. So it's now translating that sort of aggressive, that focused energy into a decent rep. And if you switched off for a minute, I need you to get back into that aggressive zone, because that's where you squat best.
Yeah.
So you know, saying something that is quite aggressive to someone like you works, and it works with me as well. And to be fair, a lot of people who I train who compete at national level above respond to that. Yeah. Conversely, I get people who are either coming back into the gym from a long hiatus, or just learning some weights, or who don't necessarily want to take their training to a high level. The last thing they want to be told is they're doing shit. Yeah. Now, because they probably know they're doing shit. So they need to be told more how not to be so rubbish in a more positive, less aggressive manner. And so, like you say, you be cue a bit more on technique. Say, come on, let's try this. Come on, you got this, blah, blah, blah. And that's just as good, because they improve as well. But like you said, if I went, come on, Vic, let's go, one more rep, you're doing really well, buddy, you probably turn around and just gorilla press me. Go, what are you doing? Stop being so nice. I'm squatting away. But like I said, not one rule fits all, and I think it's the coach's job to understand that, and it's also the athlete's job to respond to it. And if you didn't like what I said, then tell me. I mean, we don't always get it right, but I was 99.9% sure that you would like it and you'd respond to it, and lo and behold, you did. Indeed. But it's because we have that trust, and we know that I want you to do better at your squats, because you want to do the national level and above powerlifting, and I know that you will tell me if I'm being to. Even though
what we are going to be carrying on with is the whole idea of trust. And now trust is a massive thing in the client relationship. So you've got to get that buy-in, I suppose, in terms of trust. Like, why do people come to me and trust me with their nutrition? That's a good question, actually. Why did you come to me? You've never let anybody take care of your nutrition ever before, have you?
That's true. No. Why did I do that? I think as an athlete, you have to be in the right place to receive information. I'm not about going too deep and personal. Obviously, stuff's gone on in my life the last couple of years where I've just had to be ticking over. And before that, I wasn't too worried about how I looked and stuff like this, because I wasn't doing my own business, etc., etc. But then the time came to go, okay, I've got a compartmentalized personal stuff, that's all being sorted. Now it's a bit more time to focus on me and what I want to do. Also, I had a look around, and then one of the main reasons why I sort of contacted you was because of one of the lifters we trained, Carla, because she did really well in the competition, obviously, and she was singing your praises. And then obviously I had a look at your website, and you contacted me via podcast, and they're all bloomed. But I mean, it wasn't all happy singing or dancing straight away for me regarding shall I choose you. It's just like, why should I choose you? Because there's plenty of other good nutritionists out there, isn't there? Let's be honest. We're not sitting on this pedestal and just everyone's below us. And so it's
we should.
The time will come. But no, it's. I think a lot of it boils down to hearsay. Let's be honest. You can do all the social media in the world and all the advertising and marketing in the world, but at the end of the day, if you got someone who you know, like, and trust commenting on how good this person is, that goes a long way. Sure. And then when I see other people who start using you, recommended you, like Danny took Carla's recommendation and came on board, and then you started doing some really good things with her, I was just like, okay, this person knows what she's talking about. And so it just sort of made sense, really. If you start working my athletes well, and I liked where you came from regarding sticking in your own lane and working with someone who can complement you. We're going to go slightly off track, but I think a lot of people in this industry try to do too many things rather than just sticking to one thing well. I think we sort of mentioned that before. And I've always wanted to boost my business up by having a really good nutritionist to help my athletes. And so I was just like, okay, I'm in the right place to take the plunge and do some timber and start looking a bit more like my former self again. And started working with you. But I think the fact that you got a good recommendation and then from your podcast that you've done before, your Instagram posts, your website, etc., and seeing who you've trained and seeing the success of the people that you've trained that they've had, really solidified me making the right choice. And then obviously when we did mention, when I started with you, it was about 260 pounds and now I'm about 233. That's not bad, and I haven't really lost much size or strength, to be honest. Maybe 5% strength wise, which is not bad for 2 stone drop in body fat. So so good stuff.
And and I think that's one of the other things, because you can again have as many recommendations as you want, but until you start physically working with that person, you might actually find that your personality doesn't gel with the way that we work.
That's it.
So I always like to see myself as a bit of a chameleon. So I will treat you and speak to you in an extremely different manner than I would speak to somebody else, for example, who's my eating disorder clients, who were trying to, get a little bit better, and I would speak to them a lot more. So I pride myself on my communication skills. I think that does really help from my background of being a nurse, but I think it also helps with my background as being a mum. And I think that's what helps with you as well, because you're now a dad. You have to communicate very, very well, and you have to watch the way that you speak to various different people.
Exactly.
And it is life experience, because if you take, and I'm not knocking anybody who comes into the industry who's very young, but we are a bit longer in the tooth. We have got a little bit of life experience, and we have come across a lot more people emotionally and physically and psychologically than your 21-year-old newly found personal trainer.
Exactly.
And that's how we can obviously communicate with that. And I really do think that until you choose especially if you're going online, if you're going to choose an online coach, you have to put every single bit of trust into that online coach, and fighting back against them every week on changes that they make or recommendations that they make automatically screams alarm bells to me and saying, I don't trust you. And that is what's going to cause the issue. So that's the one thing that I would recommend when looking for a coach, is developing a good client relationship. If anybody says to you, you're going to be tied into a contract for 3 months, don't do it. Or minimal time with contract, don't do it. Work on a month by month basis. Okay. I mean, week by week, that's fuck all. You're not actually going to see any kind of progress in a week. But if you do it month by month, it doesn't take 3 months of trial and error to find out what goes on with your body. We are not that fucking different.
That's it.
But make sure that you do your research into a coach. See the differences of what they can do. I'm the expert in nutrition. Luke is the expert in programming. We keep those ideas separate, completely separate, and this is what makes our athletes absolutely bob on great. Luke knows exactly what's going on with his athletes in terms of their nutrition, in terms of their health, and in terms of their calories, their weight, absolutely everything. Just like I know everything about their programs, whether they're changing, because then I can adapt the nutrition to suit it. That's the other thing that I really want to talk about. This will be another podcast, because I know that we're running out of time. But periodization. We had a little bit of a chat about this earlier on, didn't we? About potentiation.
Yes.
It goes hand in hand. Training potentiation goes in hand with nutritional potentiation. If you just kind of go linear increases in nutrition, all you're going to do is reach a point of diminishing returns, and all you're going to do is get fat, right? Same thing as going into a caloric deficit. If you just keep on going lower and lower and lower and lower and lower, what's actually going to happen? You're going to end up eating dust, probably. It's these kind of things that your nutritionist or your coach need to know about, and they need to be aware about, and you need to feel comfortable in talking to them. Now, again, if your coach turns around to you and says, don't talk to me until check-in day, fuck them off. Fuck them off. Why should you not be able to talk to your coach apart from a Wednesday? What's so important about Wednesday? What happens if something happens on Friday?
Well, you tell them on Wednesday. Tell them on Wednesday.
That's it. But you know what? You should be able to talk to your coach, and this is a big thing that me and Luke value. You know, we want the feedback. We want you to communicate with us.
Well, it comes back to rapport, doesn't it? It just comes back to rapport, and another thing is to make sure that that client and the person you're trying to help feels comfortable enough to do that.
For sure.
And I mean, how many times have we asked people to give us more information because they feel like they're mithering or taking too much of your time? Well, in fact, if the less information you give, the harder it is for me to program or for you to give nutritional guidance.
Yeah.
I'd rather have a bit too much. In a way, you can never have too much information, but I'd rather have 10 videos of your bench 1 week than just one video of your bench per month.
Yeah.
So it's also the courses really, and it's just getting people to understand that we're here to help you get to where you want to go, and the more information we have, the better. And that's where we want to be. I'd rather be doing that than people going, oh, I don't really want to talk to you right now, because I don't feel it's really benefiting me. And if it is, then just be a decent enough person to go that we're obviously not singing off the same hymn sheet. It might be worth you looking for another coach, because at the end of the day, you know, it's almost like friends, isn't it? I mean, you get on well with some people and for a certain amount of time, and then they just sort of fade away a little bit because the different interests happen or whatever, things change. Or you just don't get on very well with people, or like you and I, you just click and it's just really, really good.
Yeah.
So it's the same with the coaching athlete. And this is what makes me laugh a little bit when coaches get annoyed when their athletes try someone else.
Yeah. Because
at the end of the day, you don't own anybody. You're there as a support system. And if they feel that you're not supporting them as well as they think they should be supported, just find out why, and then one or two things is going to happen. You're either going to be able to rectify that and work better because you've been open and honest and communication has improved, or they go, I just don't think that you can facilitate this anymore. And if you've exhausted every option, then just shake them by hand and wish them best of luck.
Absolutely.
So it comes down to, I was talking to someone else in the gym about this morning. It comes down as well to ego.
Yeah.
Because I think some coaches have a lot of ego when it comes to their athletes, and a lot of athletes have a lot of ego when it comes to being coached. You just need to eradicate that E word from the get-go. And if I came to you and I said, look, I'm not stupid. I've been in the industry a long time. I've done this, that, and the other. But as far as I'm aware, my glass is empty. Tell me what I need to do. And same with you. You know, you've trained a lot of people at a high level. You've done a lot of weights, but you've said to me, just tell me what to do. And that's how you need to start. You need to start off with that trust system in place straight away. If that trust system gets broken through the process, then do something about it. But don't start not trusting the coach or not trusting the athlete, because you're just going to be pointing in the wrong direction from the get-go.
Yeah.
And I think that's key as well. If you're looking for a coach, just be aware of yourself to be open to suggestion, because, you know, people are going to come across with different ideas, different experiences, and have ways of doing things that you might not be accustomed to. And I got a lady online, Linda, who came from a coach, really top bloke actually. He actually gave me all his information regarding her, and because he was just taking the back seat from coaching, so she came to me, and I gave her what I think was good for the first 2-3 months, and she said, I really feel like I need to squat 3 times a week again. So I was like, okay, why is this, something other? And she explained, and we popped it back in. And because I hadn't, but fair play to her, because I only made her squat once or twice a week to begin with, because I wanted to focus on other things, she let that happen because she trusted me. because she knew that I had her best interest at heart, and what I was programming in her eyes was helping her develop more. And then when she got to a point where she could feel comfortable enough going, I feel I need to squat 3 times, because we had that trust and this, that. Then I asked her why, and she just told me, and I was like, okay, I really understand that. I'm going to put it in, but not the way you normally do it, but because of our system's a bit different, I'm going to put it in like this. So you're getting the benefit mentally, squatting 3 times a week, but the program's still working how it should.
Yeah, for sure.
And she's hitting PBs, and she's hopefully going to smash the Masters in October.
Amazing.
So it's stuff like that I really enjoy it, and people like that are a pleasure to train. And I think the last thing we should maybe sort of finish on is, we've had this conversation sort of kind of those doors, is we love people asking questions.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But what we do get annoyed is when the questions get questioned.
Yeah.
We don't mind being. Go on, you explain that, because
what we're on about is that we want people to ask questions because we want to impart our wisdom. We want to explain the methodologies behind it. But there's a big difference between asking a question and then being questioned.
Yeah.
And that's what we're talking about. So it's like, if you ask a question, why should my calories not be different on rest days?
Yeah.
And I explain that, right, and say, this is what works for you. This is why, blah, blah, and explain the steps as to why I've not implemented different calories on rest days as opposed to training days. But if that question was turned around and saying, I shouldn't be having the same calories on rest days.
Yeah.
Why am I having the same calories on rest days? It's like, now you're questioning me. So, or I've explained all of that, and then you're like, yeah, but that's being questioned. And there are big differences. We want to educate. We love explaining. We love educating. One of the clients that we've got combined, Jason, he asks me a question, and I'll always kind of explain things in big detail. And he loves it. He asked a little question about sodium, and I went into all the different effects and why we shouldn't be so hung up at this point, but it's something that we can look at when it's closer to comp and blah, blah, and all the rest of it. And he sent me a really long WhatsApp back saying, I absolutely love your feedback, and I love listening to you impart knowledge on me. Now that's amazing, because that means I've done my job right.
Jason is quality, by the way. We love Jason.
We love Jason.
A little round of applause for Jason.
Jason, pom pom. Cool. Yeah. But no, absolutely, all joking apart. But I do the same thing with Luke. You know, I never question him, but I will just kind of say, just a quick question: why have we gone from squatting 3 times a week to now doing bench 3 times a week? When I thought it was the squat we needed to improve. That is a question. That's not like, why aren't I squatting 3 times a week anymore? Yeah. You know, it's different.
Yeah, but that comes back again to trust and respect, doesn't it? And it needs to swing both ways. And if you're not satisfied with the answer, then ask them, the coach, like I do you sometimes with the diet or whatever, is to just get them to explain a bit more, because a good coach will always have a reason why they're doing things.
Yeah.
They can't explain it, then alarm bells will start going off.
For sure.
They can explain it and you still don't agree with it, stick to it, because at least then you can find out, and the coach can find out whether it works or not.
Absolutely.
Because at the end of the day, no one knows everyone 100%. So there will be times where things will have to be tried out, and things will have to be sort of manipulated and given a whirl to see if they do work or not. So but again, the end goal is the same, and the trust is there for that to happen. So
nice note to finish on that one. Nice note to finish on. Okay, so that is it from us guys from the 3rd or 4th episode.
4th, I think, mate.
Don't know, it's all good, but yeah, thank you ever so much, guys. As always, if you've got any questions, then put them in the comments below, and we will be happy to. And as always, midweek flex. All right, lots of love. See you soon.
Thanks, Becky. Bye bye.